This is Ace at the Plate on WCWPSports.org.
All right, Doug. So this is our episode today. This week we're starting out with terrible news. And I'm sure if you're listening to this show, you already know it, but we have to cover it. Jose Fernandez has passed away. He's no longer with us. Ace pitcher of the Miami Marlins organization is unfortunately gone. And he died yesterday in I think it was a boat accident. Seems like the boat flipped over and Fernandez was found dead. There was 3 people on the boat. He was not driving the boat, and the boat crashed on full speed impact, which played a big role of why he didn't survive. Again, it's so unfortunate, and MLB is still, and I am, and you told me, are still really just feeling this loss. I mean, Jose Fernandez couldn't have happened to, this guy is such a great person, not only a great pitcher, I mean, one of the greatest in the game, a bona fide star. And he's still young, 24. He had a whole career ahead of him, and unfortunately, he's not going to be able to have that. Doug, what do you think?
Yeah, it's we enter with such a morose mood, and across baseball, you can see the ramifications as it echoes with the loss of Jose Fernandez. There's just so many parts to this it's just shocking. I mean, losing any life is a tragedy, a shame at any point, but to lose someone so vibrant and full of life, and yet so young with such a bright future ahead of him, it's just devastating to think about, especially with someone of his caliber, not only on the mound where he was a force, and I'm talking about like a terror, a force, where this guy, he went up there and he had this smile, this grin across his face that he knew, rain or shine, he's going to be having fun out there. And this is the game that he loves to play, and he's going to play it with all his heart. And Jose Fernandez, God, man, it's just, I mean, yeah, he just turned, at the end of July, he just turned 24 years old. And for him, he was about to break out in a major way. I mean, his stats say everything. Like this year, he had the greatest K per 9, which is the most strikeouts on average per inning pitched of any pitcher, I think, in the past 40 years. This is a guy who had, in 183 innings, 253 strikeouts, 16 wins, 7 losses. But it's more than just the numbers that we can go for. I mean, in 2013, we could talk when he came up. He jumped from single A to the major leagues, which is unprecedented. You barely get that anymore at all. At age 20 to 21, he got he won the NL Cy Young Award, and he was number 3 in Rookie of the Year Award. Then he was number 3 in Cy Young Award. Sorry, my thoughts are all jumbled up today from this.
It's so unfortunate. Let me tell you something. I literally woke up, and as a routine, I just checked Twitter because you never know. And usually, you know what I expected? Whenever I check Twitter, I go, who's injured today? Seriously. To sort of brighten up the mood a little bit, I go on Twitter and I go, which Mets pitcher or player has a sore back today? But unfortunately, I saw the news and I thought, I just didn't know what to think. I go, oh my gosh. And then I immediately, and that's why I texted you, because apparently you heard it from me. I texted you immediately because I was just like, yo, and I remember you thinking, oh, he didn't pitch that night. He was rescheduled because the Marlins ended up getting killed that night. You didn't remember? Do you remember?
For some reason in my mind, because I wasn't watching the game that night or tuning in, and I had Jose Fernandez on one of my teams, and I was just like, oh man, I guess he must have thrown a bad bullpen or something like that to get killed. And I woke up, and when I saw that, it's one of those things that you write off because it's just a young, blossoming life that's coming into fruition. You just don't think about it. And when you see that, it's the last thing from your mind. And seeing such a prominent player in baseball, I mean, it's just I want to go past just the numbers in the baseball. I mean, yes, he died in a boating accident, and we can say as much as we can about boating, safety of life jackets, but I do also know that when you're at night, it's impossible to see the water. Being on the water, myself being a sailor and also motorboat enthusiast, you really can't see these things. So he hit the thing called a jetty, which is supposed to be like a directional 4 into the harbor and also to break waves upon it. And so what happens when you hit that going at 40 miles per hour, you kind of get launched. It's like being in a car without a seatbelt being launched, but standing. But even beyond that, this is a guy who Jose Fernandez was a joy and a light. When you saw him at the 2014 All-Star Game at Citi Field, this is a guy who was joking around with all the other players. Like, even David Ortiz, they had this witty banter going back and forth where he's just like, out of respect, sir, Mr. Ortiz, I'm going to throw you strike after strike, fastball after fastball so you can crush one. He's like, if you truly respect me, kid, he's like, you won't do that. And first thing he does is he throws one of these knee-buckling curveballs right there that David Ortiz thought, he's like, no, this kid's going to throw me a fastball. He looks at him, and he's like, yeah, you saw that. You saw that.
Listen.
And another one against Troy Tulowitzki. He hit a comebacker to the mound, and it was so fast off the bat. Like, I'm talking about 120 miles per hour off the bat, that Jose Fernandez snagged it out, and he started running too low, and he stopped, and he, like, dropped his bat, and he looked at him with this look on his face like, did you catch that? And Jose Fernandez laughed, and it's like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But even more so, this kid, actually, it's not even a guy. It's really a kid. He's a Cuban baseball player. And so he came here after such struggles and trials of tribulation, where he went from 14 years old and he was constantly trying to make it three times. This guy tried to make it over from Miami.
He saved his mother, or he
well, no.
lost
What
his
happened?
mother,
What
right?
happened was, as the Cubans coming across, it wasn't really allowed underneath the Fidel
definitely not
Castro's
allowed.
regime.
No, definitely.
So underneath his regime, it was seen that if you went into international waters, you would be fired upon. So his boat, the first time he went, was shot at, and he was held in jail for a week. The second time, he was shot at again, and he was put in jail, this time for months. Imagine being 15 years old and going to jail for months in deplorable conditions. This is one of the worst penitentiary systems that you could ever talk about. And he even quoted saying, he's just like, I don't want to think about that food ever again. And since inmates in there, and they're underneath the thumb of Castro, is that they would just randomly kill people just inside there if anyone gave them a slight. So this kid had to survive in this environment. And then the third time when he breaks out, then finally he makes it over there. And when he's 10 miles away from Miami, his mom, well, he hears that the captain says someone's overboard. He jumps in the water without any hesitation, without any thinking, jumps into the water, and finds this woman, and using his pitching arm, his strong pitching arm, he uses that to swim and paddle while he has this woman on his left arm. But right as he gets to her, because it's so dark at night, he hears the voice, and he realizes that it's his mother. It wasn't just because he jumped in for mother. He jumped in for any person that jumped in there. Because he had been a lifeguard, and it was just because he didn't know who it was. This is a guy who at 14 years old would just jump out and would go and save a person's life.
That's crazy. And let me just say also that, to add to more of this, we all know that he had great talent, and yes, I would love to look beyond the numbers, and I am in just a second, but the thing about this that also makes it very, very sad, besides that we lost this 24-year-old guy, is that he just a week ago announced that his girlfriend and soon-to-be wife, which unfortunately not anymore, is pregnant. So he's going to be leaving behind not only the rest of his family, but that child is going to be fatherless because Jose Fernandez isn't here anymore. And it's just so unfortunate that this happened. And, it just, like as Keith Hernandez was saying on the broadcast and how other people have been saying that are really into baseball, you never really know. No one expected Jose Fernandez to die at 24 in a boating accident. You really need to live life every day to the absolute fullest because, you just never know when something like this, a tragedy, it was an accident, obviously. So obviously you never know what's going to happen. You might think when you drive in your car, I'm just going to work. But if there's like a crash or something, it could be your last. Live life to the fullest. Please, this is it's so sad that not only are we not going to be able to watch Jose Fernandez pitch or watch him be in this game, but he's leaving behind people that love him. He's leaving behind the city of Miami and just leaving behind everyone. And, there's so much to talk about with this guy. And one thing I really want to say is that he wasn't supposed to start. Well, he was supposed to start today.
He was supposed to start Sunday, and then they had Adam Connolly coming off the disabled list, who then they decided to pitch yesterday, and that they pushed Jose back to Monday. So you can kind of say that maybe there's kind of a butterfly effect to that end right there, where it's just like one event leads to another.
Pitching, it's not like you could prevent that. No one expected if you don't pitch him, he's going to die. But to just think how things happen, how things fall into place. Like if he was pitching that night, he'd be at Marlins Park. He wouldn't be in the waters. But I'm not trying to blame that on Miami or something. And the whole point of that move was to try and spoil the Mets because we're their division rivals. It's that type of stuff. It's all good and fun almost. until someone gets hurt, and it's unfortunate that this happened. He was supposed to start today, and as tribute, and I'm sure you've known or I'm sure you've seen it, all MLB teams yesterday had made a custom Fernandez jersey of their team. I don't know if it was all teams, but
No, the Mets did. Other teams made like a moment of silence before the games.
Actually, the Dodgers did too. I saw the Dodgers do it. Yeah, the Dodgers and the Mets specifically. I'm sure other teams may have done it. Hanged jerseys. Oh, and the Cubs did it for sure because I saw video of it. But hanged jerseys of Fernandez and just above the dugout so you can see it as a tribute.
Well, because also there's a lot of Cuban players across the league, and he was the embodiment of the Cuban spirit for baseball, and also not only beyond that, his skill level was unsurmountable. I mean, in the whole entire league, I would be willing to stake right now that he would have on par career if he was still alive as Clayton Kershaw.
He might win the Cy Young.
This is someone who well, I mean, he's pretty damn good, but I mean, I don't think they would do that.
All right, maybe.
But But this is a guy who's coming back from Tommy John surgery and still has produced the seasons that are comparable to Tom Seaver. That's his closest comp right now for his first 3 years of the MLB. And beyond that, you have even Doc Gooden, that he has a better xFIP, which is fielding independent stat, which means that he is controlling the whole entire game. And just beyond that, his enthusiasm for the game, you could feel it. Like it was like a child at heart. I remember last year, actually, Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run, and it was a meaningless game because the Marlins were out of it. But for some reason, Jose Fernandez, you see him throwing up his fist, going nuts, absolutely going nuts. And it's just like, I couldn't wait for this guy to be in the postseason. Even though I'm a Mets fan, I would love to see him. Jose Fernandez was a treat to see. He struck fear of God into Mets fan, but at the same time, you were appreciating the art, the craftsmanship, the mystery behind each pitch that this guy threw out there. That I don't know. I mean, there's so many intangibles that this guy also threw into the game. And, I mean, one of these photos, you've got to check it out, that just, oh, my God. It's like after he won a game against the Dodgers, he took a folding chair, not anything nice, just a crappy old folding chair, went out, sat behind, like, home plate, and put out the chair and saw the fireworks shooting off like he was a little kid.
Yeah, I actually did see that. And then there's also there's a few photos. Well, first of all, MLB.TV or MLB Network actually yesterday had as a tribute also, the Marlins actually decorated, they canceled their game against the Braves, and they decorated the mound with Jose's cap and his number sprayed on it. And teammates throughout the day, people, executives, everybody came around all throughout the day. It wasn't all at once. Would just come around and pay their respects in a sense. And Dee Gordon, who he's the second baseman. We actually I did a story on him. I think it was before you were my co-host, but he came around. You should have seen him. He was crying. He was literally distraught. It was just such a sad moment. Executives came by. The Marlins owner came by.
Don Mattingly, who was
he was in tears. He couldn't even hold back the tears. And what I'm saying with this is, it's a great tribute. And it was. Let me just tell you that scene. It just set the mood for everybody. Everybody in MLB felt it. Everybody gave their support. It was such a somber, just moment. And one more thing is that tonight, the Mets are going to be in Miami. First game, obviously, since Jose Fernandez tragically was killed. And they are going to be, the Marlins, not the Mets, but the Marlins are going to be wearing, what's his number, 16?
Yes, 16.
Yeah, 16. They're going to be wearing it, and that has not been done besides Jackie Robinson, but this player well deserves it. What an amazing guy, and it's just a tragic story because he not only is one of the best in the game, but he's just such a likable personality that, again, he had friends across all the teams. The Mets personally thanked him because of the way that he treated the Mets staff during the 2013 All-Star Game when the Mets hosted it. So, it's just such a sad moment, and it really, I still feel it. I woke up and I go, wow, I still feel it. Like, I still feel the sorrow. I felt sick to my stomach yesterday.
Dude, I'm 24. It's freaking me the hell out.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm on boats all the time, but I don't know. It just, especially gone too soon. Jose Fernandez, eternal ambassador for Cuba, was on his way to Hall of Fame career and being the greatest Cuban to ever have played the sport.
Yeah, one of
dies
for sure.
Way too early, way too soon. But he will always leave a legacy on and off the field that everyone will feel and reverberate around the league for years to come.
Always.
And we will always remember the name Jose Fernandez as a lightning bug, a fire underneath him, a passion that no one could ever, ever equal in this game, and he will be sorely missed.
I wonder how Miami's going to be tonight. I mean, now listen.
They've got to have a fire underneath them. I mean,
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Not only the team, I don't know how many people are going to be in the stands, not to try and put a diss on Miami, but Miami does not do well in attendance.
yeah.
Especially
I mean,
when,
Jose Fernandez was the only reason why they came out, actually, in the
besides
first place.
Stanton, yeah. You know,
I think they did that. Like they said that there was like a 25% increase in ticket sales every time Jose Fernandez went to pitch.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Miami isn't going to do good in ticket sales because obviously they have a really slim chance of winning anything this year. But it was just, again, so unfortunate. And, you know, again, I feel like even though this is sort of a somber start and a sort of mellow down, I'm usually really hyped when we do these shows. But since this tragedy, I could only imagine what it's going to be like when I'm watching the game tonight from Miami. And I really, you know what, I really hope that it turns out to be a good night, whether it's for the Marlins or the Mets. I just hope that everyone just comes together. And again, this is not just, you know, listen, the Marlins are our rivals, all this stuff, but you know, it's not about, you know, more. It's more than that. Is what I'm trying to say. There's more than just baseball as an issue here. You know, someone has lost their life, and it tears your heart out. And again, on Twitter, I talk about my little Twitter escapades, and it's just, even on Twitter, everybody, prominent Mets Twitter accounts, every Twitter account for MLB team, including the Mets, tweeted out all this stuff about Jose Fernandez, and it actually helped me learn a lot more about him because obviously I don't watch him every time. I don't watch every one of his starts. So another thing also is that, and I put this picture on my Instagram, and it's a picture of Terry Collins and Yoenis Cespedes taping Yoenis Cespedes, who is Cuban, he was taping the tribute jersey of Fernandez, and Terry Collins was sort of had his hand behind his back, like sort of comforting him. It was a really beautiful picture, and I think it really sort of caught the tone of the day. Here, take a look at it, though, real quick. It is just such a beautiful picture. And,
Yeah.
I just want to have it back only because I want to watch the time. But, you know, listen, like, it just was just such a what a day yesterday. And honestly, we have like around like 37 seconds left, but I wanted to really dedicate this first part to Jose Fernandez because I think he deserved it. And if you listen to all the broadcasts right before games, they always do like the pregame stuff. I mean, that stuff was full of remembrance. And obviously, we don't even know all the details yet of this horrific crash. So we're going to, you know, as the days go out, you could keep yourself updated.
But hold on, but I just want to say,
yeah, we got
the
13
best
seconds.
way to honor Jose Fernandez and what he stood for the sport of baseball, for the Cuban community, is to always go out there with passion. No matter what it is that you do, whatever you love, go out with passion, do it 110%, and always do it with a smile on your face.
That was beautifully said, and we're going to go to break on that note. We will see you then.
Hello, my name is Robert, the host of Seldom Said. We like to think it's a special program. We try to reach out to those people and issues that need expansion, that need exposure, that need understanding. We've called overseas, we've called nationally. For the listening audience, we want to let you know the truth. Give us a try. We air on Thursdays at 10 a.m. here at 88.1 FM, WCWP.org.
I think, therefore I am. I think? There's an easier way to prove you exist. Pick up your official senior ID card on Thursday, October 6th at 2 p.m. in the Plainview Old Bethpage Public Library. And it's free. For more info, call 516-938-0077 or visit POBLIB.org. The community calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
You're listening to Ace at the Plate on WCWPSports.org.
All right, Doug. So we are back, and I hope everybody enjoyed that little sad moment. But we're gonna try and get to positive things right now. Mm-hmm. And one of them is Vin Scully. There was a great celebration. He's been with the Dodgers. He broadcasted his last game at Dodger Stadium. It's not his last game he broadcast because he's going to be on the road with the Dodgers for the remainder of the season. He declined to do postseason coverage even though he was offered. And, you know, wow, Vin Scully, man, he was there with the Brooklyn Dodgers. The amount of history that Vin Scully witnessed, basically the whole franchise, the whole Jackie Robinson thing, everything he saw, the amount of no-hitters he's called, the amount of just World Series games he's been into, playoff games he's been into. I mean, and by the way, that last game at Dodger Stadium, walk-off, home run, clincher.
Yeah.
So that is, talk about a better way to end it, to end a casting. Again, not his last broadcast, but at Dodger Stadium, all the players came out. They saluted him. It was just a beautiful scene, a happy scene at Dodger Stadium. Do you have anything on Vince Scully? Do you go ahead. He's so iconic.
He's an iconic broadcaster throughout the whole entire business. And you just hear him just go, swung on, a high fly ball, deep left field. Can you believe it? It's a home run. And the Dodgers clinched the division, and they celebrate for Vince Scully at that last game. It's just, I don't know, it's just a sweet coalescence of the whole entire universe just combining together for one day of sadness to bring at the end of it something that's happy, just like, and it was just beautiful for a guy who's covered the Dodgers for 67 years.
Yeah.
67 years.
So
like
iconic.
that blows my mind. The guy has set the precedent for what a broadcaster should do and how a broadcaster should carry himself. I mean, every single time that you hear the guy speak, it brings you back. Every single person I feel like who's ever seen a baseball game can hear Vince Scully's voice in the back of their head. But, I mean, for him, I don't know. I mean, I want the Mets, of course, to win the World Series, but what a beautiful send-off for Vince Scully if the Dodgers
listen, I have no love for the Dodgers, but, again, Vince Scully, the things he's done, the service to the game, and honestly a role model for me, who's a broadcasting major in the industry, it's, wow, what a great send-off. He's very old, and I don't know how old he is, actually. I think he's 90.
No, he's like 87, 89 or something like that. He's getting up there. He's getting up there, right?
What a career. And, that's just a congratulations to him.
But did you hear him, after the game, he sang to them? It's a song that he sings for his wife, but he wanted to serenade the whole entire Dodgers crowd with the wind behind my wings.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear it, but I will say this, man. Vince Scully, great guy, and, I just wanted to cover that. And, listen, it's going to be Dodgers and Nationals because the Nationals did clinch also because of the Mets. Well, did they win last night? I'm already lost. They won by 17-0, but
the Mets definitely won yesterday.
Yeah,
I can guarantee
I know
that.
I'm just lost because I'm thinking, that's why I was lost, because I thought the Nationals clinched last night, but it was the night before when the Mets lost. And when the Mets lost, Daniel Murphy, it's time to turn it a little bit, because Daniel Murphy actually said, "I've never rooted so hard for the Phillies in my life." That's what he said.
That son of a...
Yeah, that's what he said. So, Murphy sort of...
Hey, whatever. He's got a strained glute. That means ass muscle there,
Listen, all
right?
I want...
Because it's defining him. He's an ass.
All I'm saying is that, there are a bunch of people who don't like Murphy anymore, and I am one of them. And listen, I'm not mad at him.
How can you like him? I don't think any rational Mets can like him. I mean, the guy's destroyed us. He's clobbered the Mets.
After the Mets have clobbered him, it's sort of over. Listen, he was great for his service, historic. Let's just hope he doesn't win the batting title or he doesn't win the MVP, because he's on the Nationals. And the Nationals clinched, the Dodgers clinched. Who do you think will win that series?
Between the Nationals or the Dodgers?
Yeah, who do you think? Do you really? Or is it
it's got to be...
I think it's going to be the Nationals, actually. But I don't know much about the Dodgers. I don't follow them, but I know about the Nationals.
The Dodgers? Well, I mean, the Dodgers, they've got Clayton Kershaw first and foremost. And when you have Clayton Kershaw, that means you usually win. But we've seen from last year that the playoffs is his kryptonite, the one time where he's infallible. I mean, well, he fails. No, he's always infallible. But besides that, I mean, you've got Rich Hill behind him, who was dealt from the Oakland Athletics, who, if everyone remembers, was a 35-year-old journeyman who was playing for the Long Island Ducks, right here, baby.
Yeah, right in.
And then he goes to Boston Red Sox, and this year he's turned to actually one of the better pitchers in baseball, like one of the best, which is ironic. But I mean, at 36, you're supposed to be going to your twilight stage. This guy's reaching his peak.
Well, look at Bartolo Colon. So
Well, that's because the guy is like a robotic arm. The guy literally was injected with stem cells, so he regrew a new shoulder that's as young as a pup. But I mean, they have a good rotation. I mean, behind them, they've got Kenta Maeda, then they've got Brandon McCarthy, who isn't too shabby, and their offense with Corey Seager, who is most likely going to be the National League Rookie of the Year, hitting close to 30 bombs, 100 RBI, and speed to boost that. I mean, hitting an average about 316, I think, 310, somewhere around there. And, I mean, they have a great offense. You can't discount Adrian
No,
Gonzalez.
definitely
Yasiel Puig, who is still doing a phenomenal job. They've got Josh Reddick, or J.J. Reddick back in the day in the Red Sox time. But even he's got a nice power-speed combo, but it hasn't come to fruition. And Howie Kendrick, who's timeless as always. I don't understand how the guy's still playing ball right now.
And of course, we have the Nationals. Now, the thing is, their rotation's sort of not as good anymore because Strasburg's out.
Strasburg might not even be back for the playoffs.
Oh, is he their ace? I mean, he's got to be the ace.
Oh, he is.
Or is it
no,
the other
it's Scherzer.
guy?
Scherzer's pretty damn good, but before Scherzer,
I'd say
it's like more of like 1A and 1B. It's kind of like, there's not that much of a difference.
Yeah, there isn't that much of a difference.
But Scherzer's
then
dominant.
Again,
like this year is like one of his more dominant years, considering strikeouts actually, because I think he has the most double-digit strikeout games of his career, and this is a guy who has been around for a little bit, pitching a shit ton of strikes.
Yeah. Now, who would you rather face if the Mets got that far? Who do you think's going to win?
I would rather the Mets face the Dodgers. To be honest.
Okay.
Because the Dodgers, at least we know we've got the number that we can do it. For some reason, the Nationals, I don't know what the heck it is.
Yeah.
But this year, whenever we face the Nats, it's just embarrassing. And
It's
every
been
single time,
bad.
I just do not want to be a Mets fan and just put your head
two
in the
things
sand.
I really want to bring the light here. One, I don't know who would win, right? I really don't know who would win. It really is a toss-up.
It's a very, very fair matchup.
But I will say this.
I'd go Nationals
that
still.
you think Nationals would win that?
Yeah, because, I mean, they've got so much speed and power in combination. If you just let Bryce Harper rest a little bit in the shoulder so he can come back with the shoulder and neck aches, then you've got a nice, legit power threat in the middle. But they've got Trey Turner, this kid that they brought up to play outfield and shortstop. Like, he is phenomenal.
Now,
so speedy. And then you got Anthony Rendon, who is amazing. Wilson Ramos, who's hitting about 320 or something like that, and who's only second behind Daniel Murphy in the league for batting
agree
average.
with you, though. I agree with you that I would rather the Mets face the Dodgers because we faced them before and we're sort of familiar with them. And, but there is one thing. If we do end up facing, let's say if we get this far and we do end up facing the Nationals, and if we beat the Nationals, they're going to hate the Mets even a lot more than they already do. They are going to be furious.
Yeah, but they're going to be so cocky if they beat the Mets, too. They're going to be like, look at you guys. We beat the defending World Series champions.
Yeah,
Or not World Series champion, but you know what I mean.
But and by the way, Mets Nationals NLCS would be insane. That would be sellout crowds at both places, especially Citi Field would be a doghouse.
Okay?
Oh my God. And if you go into Citi Field with a Nationals cap, you might get mauled.
Yeah.
So, honestly, mauled alive, by rabid dogs, which are Mets fans. I mean, honestly, the heated rivalry between the Nationals and the Mets it's just heated up so much, especially with last year and this year. But another thing is that the Mets are in the first wildcard spot. Talking about playoffs, the Mets are in the first wildcard spot. The Giants lost last night, I believe, and the Mets, of course, won 17-0. So, Mets are up. I think it's a game and a half. And, it's good, man. I mean, there's 6 games left. There's just 6. I mean, the Mets to clinch, I think, would have to go 4. I think they'd have to win 4. But I don't know. I don't know the numbers.
For the Mets, they're up 1 game right now on the Giants.
Okay.
But they're 1.5 games up on the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So for them to clinch, let's see, how many more games they've got left?
6.
I mean, 6, right?
Yeah.
So I think they would only. I mean, obviously that would be nice if they won all 6, but right now you're looking at. I don't know. They need to win.
Where do you think they
4
need
games?
to go? 4 games, right? 4 games.
I mean, well, because you can't like on the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals
Here's the
are
thing,
back 1 in the loss column, so they would need to make up 2 wins to get up to the Mets. So that's why I'm going with 4.
Yeah, 4. 4 would be. And listen, you never know what's going to happen. I would really love that first wild card spot because I know you get in with the second spot, but then the home game is at the other place, San Francisco.
Wait, are you talking about a 3-way tie, or are you talking about just the 2 at the top?
Well, right now, just the 2, because I honestly think the Cardinals are falling.
I don't know. I mean, I hope the Cardinals aren't in it because their away record is 48-33 compared to their home record, which the only thing that can explain this actually is their high home run totals, not they're going to parks that favor them. But their home record is 33-41, 8 games below 500 for their home average. So that means even if they squeak in and the Mets have home field advantage, I don't know. I mean, it's the Cardinals also, man. Like give me the goddamn Pirates, all right?
We spoke about this last week about would we rather face the Giants or the Cardinals.
Where are you sitting at now?
Both teams. Looking at it now, seriously looking at it now, and this you might call me crazy, but honestly,
I'll call you crazy regardless.
The Giants. Their bullpen has been so bad that there's just no way they're going to be. I mean,
They only have Hunter Strickland at the back end, but besides that, like Sergio Romo's not the best, and then
They've
you've got
blown
Santiago
so
Casilla,
many
who's
games.
they've blown 29 games this year.
Yeah.
29 saves.
I would just rather, because even if the Giants are up on them, and then there's a bigger chance they come back. And plus, again, like you said, it's the Cardinals. I just really hope the Mets get that home game, because I feel like whoever does have the home game actually does have a little bit of an advantage, because, again, you're in your home park.
Oh, yeah.
You play there 80 games a year. You know that park, and you got the fans behind you. So I really think that it would be good for the Mets to be at home. Do you honestly think that they will win the first wild card spot?
The Mets?
Yeah. Or do you think there is a collapse to the second?
The Mets against the Giants with Noah Syndergaard, I'm going to say like the Mets win 4-2, 4-3.
No, I'm saying like, will they win that spot?
Oh,
Like,
the Mets.
Will they clinch the top wild card spot?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're-
Yes.
you're
yes.
not scared
yes.
at all. Okay,
Are you
good.
serious? Let's go
Okay,
Mets,
okay,
baby. This is
okay.
the one time where instead of
Listen.
being delusional and fanatical over here, I can actually tell you right now that against these teams that are piss poor,
Yeah.
that the Mets can do this. I mean, the Giants have to face the rest of the division, and while the Mets have to feast upon, the Marlins, unfortunately, right now, but then you got the Phillies. And, like, what better way than to finish up pouncing on the Phillies and getting in there?
Yeah.
Just after all these years of those smug Philly fans, it would
Yeah,
just
I
be
know. Now,
delicious
it's
to have those
almost like
tears on the tip of my tongue.
It's almost like the Nationals have replaced the Phillies. We never really talk about the Phillies because they suck, but now we talk about the Nationals, how much we hate them, because they're now the people to beat. So, by the way, you know what? I'm fair. Congratulations to the Nationals. They said it on the broadcast. Congratulations, but enjoy it while you can, because you're not getting past the Dodgers. And mark my words. And like I said to that guy, Nationals dub. I'm serious. Look up that guy on Twitter. 17-year-old. He just tweets. He makes fake accounts and likes his own stuff. And he gets in arguments with everybody. He's a troll. I vowed. I said this on the show. I vowed that when the Nationals do not win the World Series, I will tweet at him. And I made that vow in early August. So I'm committed. I still tweet at him. So listen. I know this is sort of pointless, but I really don't think the Nationals will win the World Series. And if the Nationals win the World Series, I will be heartbroken. I will honestly be heartbroken. I hate their team. I hate their fans. I hate them. I really do. I really dislike them. I dislike the Cubs too, but that's a different story. But, and a lot of people go, oh, no, lay off on the Cubs. But, we'll talk about it another time. I don't lay off the Cubs. But, listen, man.
Hey, well, David Ross, did you see that actually? David Ross, how was his last Cubs game?
I heard about that, too.
39-year-old catcher who won the World Series for the Red Sox in 2013, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And then, last night.
He's retiring.
He's retiring. He announced before that this is last season, so his last home Cubs game. They give him this loud applause, and
That's
you know what the
crazy.
guy does? He hits a towering, thundering home run that puts them up
Wow.
1-0
That
late in the
is
game.
amazing, dude.
And
That's
it's just
really great.
it's sweet karma. I mean, that's the beauty of the sport of baseball, man. Sometimes you get these tragedies, this devastation, but then there's always that spark of life and light that will always bring you back to that passion, to that childlike innocence of just enjoying the moment and just being there.
This is why I love baseball, because there's such a narrative to baseball that, again, a lot of people go 162 games, that's a lot. And listen, I wouldn't mind it being back to 152 or something. But at the end of the day, baseball, once you follow a team, when you watch the team, even if you watch the team periodically throughout the season, it's such a long season that you get attached. And these seasons, they become storylines. You could write books about
You
that.
say it's the soap opera of the past week when
almost like a soap
when you had
opera.
when you had Curtis Granderson hitting a home run in the 11th, then into
Yeah.
the 12th, when you were down 6-4 in the bottom of the 9th, coming back, and then you still down. So what was it when his dribble hit that blast?
Yeah, I thought the Mets were going to lose both of those games.
And it was
They
like
ended up
late in
winning.
innings, like they take your heartstrings and then they play a nice little song about it, and then they end up writing a soap
Well,
opera
the
out of it.
second one of those was the AAA. Oh no, that correct me. No, that
You mean
was
the,
2 games
the
ago.
Vegas
2
51s?
games
I
ago.
love that they could. How about this new name, the Vegas 51s?
Yeah, dude, they sent like everybody up there from the Vegas 51s. They took all the starters out, and the Mets didn't win that game, which was unfortunate.
But they came back after being down
Yeah,
10-0 to
which,
about 10-8.
That's crazy. So that's crazy cool. and that was awesome to see. Galvin Shishini got a hit.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that was cool.
See, we got to see the kid actually
And,
produce a little bit.
I want to congratulate somebody, and I'm not going to fully say he's out of his slump, but Jay Bruce, and I call him Jay Bruce, not Jay Bust.
Yeah, that's a
He earned
first.
it. He earned it. First of all, in that Vegas game, he had a pinch hit home run. Like, that's unlikely. But then he went, what'd he go? He went like 2 for 3 or 2 for 4.
Yeah, 2 for
like,
3 actually. I think with 2 doubles that were
Yeah,
they were
so-
big doubles too.
If he could, yeah, I thought I thought one of them was going to go
Yeah.
out. But listen, if he could, again, Jay Bruce has a really good track record, and if he could get hot, he's going to make a big difference on this club. So I'm rooting for him. Again, I only got on him because he wasn't doing his job. Yesterday he's doing his job, and I'm your biggest fan. So keep doing your job, and I won't call you Jay Bust. But today you earned it, Jay Bruce. And next time we talk on this show, I know the show isn't close to being over or anything, but next time we do, hopefully the Mets, I think they should be clinched, and Jay Bruce is going to be on a hot streak. And the wild card game for the AL, I know, starts on October 4th. I think the NL starts on October 5th. We're not there yet. I don't even know when Monday is. Like, what day is our next show?
I was literally just trying to count
Yeah,
out my hands like I'm a little preschooler.
I
I'm like,
honestly
all right,
don't
there's
know.
a
Like,
1,
I'm
2,
a millennial.
3.
I don't know anything, you know?
Like what's okay? So today we've got the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th is Friday, then the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. We'll be
Third.
back.
Yeah, third. I just looked. It's the 3rd. So the day before.
Yeah,
the
math's not our strong
Yo,
suit, Alan.
so you know what though? But you know we'll talk about. But mainly we'll be talking about the NL because the Yankees won't be in it. We're in New York.
I mean, I'm excited for the American
I'm
League.
excited.
I mean, no, the American
I'm
League's gonna be excited.
Don't
I mean,
get me wrong. I'm excited.
I mean,
but
you got definitely it's gonna be some division
That's
rivals
gonna be-
unless the Tigers and Mariners can squeeze it out, or even the Astros sneak in there. But I think that's very unrealistic at this point. But I mean, the actual American League playoffs is gonna be really, really fun to watch. I mean, Red Sox with Rick Porcello, where everyone thinks that this guy was written out as a bust, who's potentially gonna win the Cy Young now after having
Yeah.
20 wins, 3.2 ERA, and
He'll
a
win
bunch
it.
of strikeouts.
He'll win it.
And then you've got the Texas Rangers, who's just a fun clobbering bunch. And then
No.
the Cleveland Indians, who no one saw this coming. But I said in the beginning of this year, that starting rotation, they challenged the Mets.
Yeah.
But they have had a couple of injuries, just like the Mets.
Yeah.
They are like the Mets of the American League. And that's why I'm rooting all the way for
yeah,
these Cleveland
I'm
Indians.
rooting. They're my second team. I'm rooting for them. If the Mets get eliminated, unless it's by them, well, no, then that would be the World Series. I'm stupid, but you know, if the Mets don't go all the way, God forbid, I'll be pulling for them. And you know, listen, I'll tell you this though. The AL is going to be, it's just like we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with anything. And I'm telling you right now that when I really hope that the Mets go far this year, and we're going to be talking about it, and we're going to be talking so much. Like, you think when the baseball season over, the show ends? No, it doesn't, because we got the winter
No, that's when we
meetings.
heat up.
That's when
the
we heat up. So even after the season, boys, get ready, because we'll be covering baseball all throughout, and we're going to be covering all the offseason stuff, and possibly, maybe the Mets sign Cespedes. We're going to keep that hunt, but we'll leave that for another time because we got the Mets playing tonight in in Miami. Like we said, this is going to be must-win games. We got things are on the line, bro. Because don't you want to see Citi Field jam-packed again?
Oh, that's why I'm going to that wild card game. Like, the tickets are astronomical, but I decided to splurge for the money for standing room.
Have you gotten can you give us a quote?
A quote right now for standing room only, it's about $80 right now.
There you go.
With the extra
$80
prices.
to just
Nosebleed,
stand.
it's about like $150 or something like that, $140. But just to stand there to witness the crowd and feel the energy, hell yeah, I'm doing it.
Now,
I'm not going to miss out on
last
this.
year? Were you there
Last year, did not have the opportunity.
Now, let me tell you something. My friend, I didn't go, but my friend Joe, who his dad actually listens to this show. Shout out. But he went to some of those games. I think he said that Citi Field was actually vibrating. He said that was the time where it said it reminded him of Shea. It wasn't like, it was a little bit like Shea. It was exactly like Shea to him. I mean, that's what he said. When the Mets were hot in Shea, it was like an electrifying, unforgettable place. Citi Field was like that. Citi Field got like that. And you know what? Last year was really the first time that I honestly embraced Citi Field.
Well, that's also the momentum, the magic of the end of the season going into it. Like, that's a difference. Like, the different vibe is that the Mets were riding that wave all the way up to the peak, baby.
Yeah, they were.
Like, right now, something's been happening this year that's not, I don't know. I was at the game last Wednesday, and the energy just wasn't there.
Now, we're gonna talk about more of this stuff and all that. I didn't even realize we got 10 seconds on the clock, but we will be right back with all this stuff and more. So see you soon. Stay tuned.
The secret to good writing is to write, and keep on writing. Find out some more valuable writing secrets at the Writers Group. If you're a serious writer, come down for a lively exchange of ideas on the first Saturday of each month at the Glen Cove Public Library. For more info, call 516-676-2130 or visit glencovelibrary.org. The Community Calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Hey, this is Richard Solomon, host of Taking Care of Business on WCWP. Join me Thursday mornings at 11 as we talk to newsmakers and people behind the scenes. And check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/TCB Radio WCWP.
Keep calm. You may already have high blood pressure. Relax and find out with the free blood pressure screening available the second Wednesday of every month at 12 noon in the Westbury Memorial Public Library. For more info, call 516-333-0176 or visit westburylibrary.org. The Community Calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
You're listening to Ace at the Plate on WCWPSports.org.
All right, so we're back, and we got you. You were talking about Citi Field and about the momentum and all that stuff. So you're going for sure.
Oh, I'm definitely going for sure. I mean, that is if the Mets clinch home field advantage. Which
obviously.
To clinch home field advantage, they need to just tie it up with the Cardinals because in the regular season they had an even record, and I'm pretty sure the Cardinals have a. And then after it goes past your regular season performance against each other, it goes into how you performed against your own division. The Giants have a superb record against their division, and even though the Mets might have beaten them, I think, but then the Cardinals, the Mets are tied with throughout the regular season. So it'd be interesting to see. But the momentum, what I was referring to before, was that the momentum from last year, with the Yoan Wentz trade, with Wilmer Almost getting traded, to all these storylines coalescing into one beautiful, vibrant story that came to the after effect of the postseason, is that this year it just doesn't seem like that. It just seems like the Mets are grasping at straws, and we're just sneaking our way in past the door. It's like these other teams should be blowing us out of the water, but they're just also failing, and it's just the Mets are just the only ones that are benefiting. I mean, when the Mets have been losing recently, my motto's been when they lose, they win, because the other teams just end up losing.
It's just insane, and honestly, it's just a testament. And I'm not trying to say this discredit the season. The season has been great. The season has been a joy to watch sometimes, and let me just say, coming into 2015, I mean, we were pumped up, right? And I honestly thought we were going to win the division. Now, obviously, things didn't go in our favor and stuff. I will sort of, if we win it all and stuff, well, I'm always going to remember this season. But I'm going to remember this season as the ugly stepchild to 2015. Because 2015 was just an amazing year. And this year was amazing. But let's not forget the months, man. May.
Oh, my God.
And...
it was the end of it was literally the end of May all the way up until about July 30th.
Yeah, it was a huge stretch where this season was actually coming to an end almost. It was that bad. We fell behind the Marlins, way behind the Marlins.
Oh, way behind, probably 5-7 games.
We were 6 or 7 games back from the Marlins. And that's for the second wildcard spot. So let's not forget this year was not perfect. And neither was 2015. But 2015 sort of had this perfect pace where the first half was terrible almost. And it started out with that great
It was
win.
a nice crescendo in music terms. We just kept building,
and then
building,
once it went up,
left.
it went up. And this 2016, it was this has been a little bit of a disappointment, and somehow we're still in it, so not so bad. But this year has been great. I'm grateful to see winning baseball. The Mets seem to be finishing strong, though, and that's important.
Yeah, I mean except for that sweep by the Braves, which I was at the last game, and I was like, what the hell is happening here?
You see, this is exactly, that's why games like that, you go, okay, this isn't 2015 magic, but this is something because we're still in it.
That's so true.
It's a little...
Because you can just tell that there's something that's missing. Yeah, it's ugly. It's an ugly way to get past it, but this is kind of I don't know,
this is what we got.
Scraping Mets. They're a scrappy group of guys that are going to get in there no matter what. And I mean... I don't know. I mean, you're obviously excited, but it's not like last year where it's just you boasted about it. Finally, it was time to become a Mets fan. We were coming out in our colors. We were showing that we're Mets and we're proud, baby. But this year we're just we're Mets, we are as we are.
That's fine, that's, listen, better than nothing, right? Better than nothing. But I will say this, it has not been pretty, but listen, that's why I'm nervous. I'm starting to feel it. Last week, I started off big talk, but I couldn't walk the walk. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're
let me
saying.
tell you
I know what you're
something.
saying.
If we're gonna win it all, which by the way, I still constitute this season as World Series or bust. Seriously, because we just came off the biggest World Series. I know people are sort of forgetting that, but World Series or bust for me. And next year, World Series or bust. Okay, it's time to win.
We've got a window of about 2-3 years.
Yeah,
right
we
here,
got to hurry it
people,
up. So listen, like. We have the longest journey to the World Series because we're a wild card team. So if we make it past the wild card, we literally, and I'm not saying it's impossible. The San Francisco Giants did it, so it's not impossible. And wild card teams have won before. It's not like it's impossible, but it's the longest journey. We have to win that wild card game. That game, I'm going to be literally pooping my pants. I should watch that on the toilet seat because honestly, that game. I mean, if the Mets are down 5-0 or something, the season might be over, boys. So wake up. This is serious, so I'm actually a little afraid. Are you feeling it a little bit? I'm feeling a little afraid.
With this first game, Noah Syndergaard's showing that he threw a bullpen session. He's kind of healthy. Matz has a clean MRI, so maybe he can come back at some point in the postseason.
Syndergaard's starting tonight, right?
No,
Am I wrong?
No, tonight's game is Bart.
Okay, it's Bart.
Syndergaard, Thor's going tomorrow.
Oh,
Tonight will be
I mixed
Bartolo
that up.
Colon against Adam Conley, but we'll get back to that in a second. But to continue on with this vein, yeah, Robert is we're going to have to ride on the backs of these kids, man. We're going to have these kids carrying the team, and that's really scary because we talk about this postseason experience, but everyone on this roster last year was postseason experience, except for Conforto, who it's okay if you have this young gun and everyone can rally around him.
Too.
But I don't know. Now we've got there's just so many damn young kids. And who do you put on that 25-man roster when you go to the postseason?
Be another
because
story.
that's going to be the biggest story here. Because what happens to TJ Rivera? He's been producing, but then what do you do with all these outfielders?
Who's your second baseman? Who's your second baseman? Is it TJ? Is it?
I don't.
Is it? Who's your second baseman? Is it Flores? Oh, Flores is out for the season.
Flores is out for the season. So you're looking at Kelly Johnson, Jose Reyes, or TJ Rivera.
Well, Jose Reyes is going to be a third. Who's your third baseman?
Your boy Soup? I don't know, man.
No, dude. Jose at third. TJ Rivera at second. Yes.
I guess you have to do that. And
you have to.
But then, what's the bench constitute? Because then you're going to have either Loney or Duda at first base.
Loney.
But then the outfield, then you only have 2 more spots, 3 more spots realistically.
Cespedes.
So then you've got Rene Rivera and Travis d'Arnaud. So then you've got 3 more spots. And then you've got Cespedes in left field. Center field, you're going to be going with...
I don't know.
Exactly.
Is it going to be Granderson? It might be
Granderson.
No, it's Granderson.
But then you got Granderson. Then right field, you've got Bruce. Then who else are you leaving out then? You've got Lagares. You've got Conforto. Nimmo out. Cicchini.
Lagares is only a pinch runner. So
he was also defensive replacement. You're right. I haven't seen him swing a bat yet, so that makes a lot of sense.
He actually can't. He said he can't. He hasn't swung the bat.
That's like Gazelman, who has a torn labrum.
Who got his first hit on that bunt.
Who got his first on bunt.
That's another thing. So, yeah. Actually, we're leaving off a lot of people because there's just no room because the Mets have so many outfielders.
Yeah, because what happens is when you get to the postseason, you contract the roster away from 40 people to 25. So right now it's an audition, but I would leave Duda out of this whole entire charade.
No, Duda is not a factor, dude. He hasn't swung the bat. He swung the bat. He looked terrible. I know he may have gotten. I don't even know if he's gotten a hit, man.
He was so close to a home run that would have tied it up, I think, a couple of days ago. But
that's it. You gotta leave Loney in there.
Defensive replacement. That's why you have Loney in there.
Here's the thing, though.
But what about the young guns?
Don't forget, it's not like we could have a taxi squad like we did. We had a taxi squad last postseason. I remember reading it, and people like Eric Young Jr. and all those guys were on that squad. Where at a moment's notice, they're there. So if we do need somebody, if somebody gets hurt, there's space. Unfortunately, hopefully no one gets hurt.
Well, hurt is the only way you can do that because that's what happened with Ruben Tejada, that Matt Reynolds was able to be on the roster. That's in a series.
Yeah.
So when you're in an active series, you can't change it. But before then, so that's why wild card. What do you do for the wild card? Do you just go heavy on the pitchers and hope that you can maybe strike out everyone? I don't know.
The Mets were sort of playing. Listen, when you think about it, last year, no roster was perfect. Honestly. These are your
especially
starters.
with Terry. There's no
starters.
perfect roster.
Considering how Granderson is playing right now, these are your rosters. And let's say Granderson's hot and Bruce gets hot. This is how you do it. You do it first base Loney, second base Rivera, TJ Rivera, shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera, third base Reyes. Then you have your outfield left field Cespedes, center field Granderson, assuming he's playing well, and Bruce right field, assuming
Would you
he's
start
playing as well.
Travis d'Arnaud or Rene Rivera? I think I'd go
This
Rene
is going to
Rivera.
be controversial, but I'm going to start Rene Rivera 100% of the time.
Because, I mean, especially with Thor, that you know he
D'Arnaud,
can throw out a
I
runner.
completely forgot about the catching position. You just like reminded me. They're so like
Because
they're just
d'Arnaud
so
has
active.
become nothing. He has less RBIs than Gary Sanchez, the Yankee, has home runs.
Yeah,
and he's played like
D'Arnaud's had a
3 times more
terrible
games.
year, and I was very high on him, but he's had a disgusting year. And again, he's always the injury prone. And you know what? Rivera with Syndergaard starting in the wild card. Yes, you start Rivera. And if you don't, Terry Collins, I would like you to hand me your freaking license or whatever the heck you got to hand me to resign. Okay, I'm not a police officer here, but just go away because there's no way you're starting Travis d'Arnaud, especially even if Syndergaard gets better with the running game. You have to have Rivera as his backup. Part of the reason why Syndergaard's getting a little bit better with his running game is that Rene Rivera's there. And Rene Rivera, he's been, what a great guy.
Rene Rivera is he's always been counted as that backup, durable defensive catcher.
He's got a great arm. Heck of an arm. So,
see it compared to d'Arnaud. D'Arnaud is like a noodle, like going out there. It's just like, oh.
Do we have room for 2 catchers? He could be the backup. Sorry, bro.
You rather have Plawecki instead of d'Arnaud?
No. d'Arnaud backup. D'Arnaud
Yeah.
backup.
Plawecki can just go down to the craters of hell.
d'Arnaud's almost like an offensive replacement if Syndergaard is out of the game or something.
When you're talking about, it doesn't matter with Terry. I saw last week where Terry Collins, instead of using any of these guys, he's like, all right, let's bring up Kelly Johnson, who's possibly your best guy on the bench. All right, no, we're going to just double switch him with Eric Campbell. And then let's double switch him with Kevin Plawecki.
Oh my gosh.
Immediately as Kevin Plawecki went
baseball.
in, it was a whole entire audible groan from the people like, oh. And I was like, all right, let's see him strike out on this one. You know what happened? He got 3 balls and then 3 straight strikes.
Let me just say, September baseball, and I'm sorry, I hate September baseball. I hate how all the rosters expand because every single batter that comes up, the manager comes out and switches.
The games are slowed down actually significantly.
Significantly, and I really, it's actually sort of freaking annoying. But whatever. Again, also one.
But there's records being broken. Terry Collins used 27 different pitchers in one game.
Yeah.
20 players.
Well,
27.
Let me just say also, and this is just another thing I thought of that we're going to be talking about during the offseason, is that contract agreement that is coming up where major rule changes might happen.
What do you mean?
The 2017 player agreement contract, it's up.
What do you think will be changed about it?
Well, they were talking about a lot of changes like the clock coming.
Like the 30 seconds between pitches?
Which,
and stuff
by
like
the
that?
way, minor leaguers don't mind it. People pitching in the system right now say it's not bad. People coming up are statistically faster because they're used to the clock. So
I didn't know that.
I don't mind the clock. I don't know about you. It's not like it's a timed game. It's just throw the pitch within like 30, 40 seconds. Something like that.
Because I'm watching like a Yankee Red Sox game. God, that can go on for 4 hours.
Yeah.
You just want to put a bullet in your head, man. It's
And
awful.
listen, some of these pitchers, they just think like, it's just like, listen, just chill. Throw the ball. I'm not saying just go to it and rush it, but I hate guys that are just so slow to the plate and it's just, come on, throw the pitch.
Yeah.
Like some guys are really slow to the plate. And, listen, there's other things like maybe tightening the ball, maybe.
What do you mean tightening the ball?
Tightening the
The threads around it so that it makes more.
fly out more.
Oh, really?
Possibly. These are all things not guaranteed.
Wow,
Just
I
discussed.
didn't know these things.
Just discussed. Yeah. Also, one thing that they were talking about was like when you put in a relief pitcher, he has to face like 3 batters or something, which is a big rule. But we'll see. I'm not saying these things are going to be implemented, but they're going to be negotiated.
Yeah.
So that one I think is a stretch because you're killing a lot of jobs. I don't think that those guys would go with it. But the pitch clock, mark my words,
I think that's
it's coming.
a great idea.
I think that's coming.
I think that's a great idea.
And honestly,
because also it doesn't allow them times to like where you can have your manager like literally screaming across the field like, all right, move 2 feet to the left. Now 3 inches to the back right.
Also,
all right, now you're good.
Low key about that tightening the ball. I think they already did it.
Yeah.
I
I think you're right because this year we've seen an unprecedented amount of home runs so far.
I'm not saying like it's a bad thing because I actually prefer the offense.
I do too. I do too.
Think,
I love the art of
you
pitching.
Hear
Don't get
Gary
me wrong.
Cohen talk
My thing is
about it.
pitching, but seeing the home runs.
You hear Gary Cohen talking about how he even thinks that they're talking about it. They're talking about the the ball being tightened. And
Definitely has been. It's the era of it's like the dead ball
well,
era. It's
this
the
is
era of the
almost-
pitcher.
we're
And this
catching
year,
up
for
to
some reason,
steroid era home runs. So
that's ridiculous. That is.
I think they've tightened the ball. I think, and Gary Cohen has said it. And listen, I'm not complaining because I like seeing the home runs. I'm sorry, I like seeing like these games that are just like. I just love action. I hate that's why, like, I am a biased person. I like to watch good hitters rather than good pitchers. I love watching the ball fly. I love that stuff. I love the fielding. I love the stealing. I mean, that sort of is dying. But, I don't know. Like, for me, and I know pitching isn't easy, but if I were to get into baseball and I wasn't going to be a catcher, I'd probably be a pitcher. Because, like, if you're good at it, you're going to make, like, so much money. I don't know. It's easier to throw the ball, in my opinion, than it is to
What?
hit the ball.
No.
Yeah,
There's so much nuance with throwing a pitch. Are you serious? The finger pressure that you have, the separation of angles between
all
each
that
finger,
stuff,
like
all that
on the
stuff.
seams, the correct position with the nail,
All that
and
stuff,
like knowing
though.
how to like go and attack a hitter between knowing
You
where it
gotta keep
changes
in
eye
mind, though.
level.
You got to keep in mind, all that stuff makes the ball harder to hit.
All
All that stuff makes the ball harder to hit. And I understand that stuff is hard to do and hard to execute, but it's twice as hard as on the batter because you don't know what pitch he's going to throw, and you got to hit that ball. Hitting that ball coming straight at you is hard enough.
Oh, well, I'm saying for a hitter, it's like that's when you see more of like the pure instincts of the human body and like how it has to react. Like
Yeah.
that is just that's incredible. I mean, to know that within 3 blinks of an eye that like a batter has to understand. It's like,
incredible.
all right, let's see. Is the ball turning red or is it all white? Is there a red dot in it? Okay, maybe it's going to be going outside. Like you don't have that time. I think it's 1.2 seconds to get to the plate. And for me, I mean, I understand that aspect where it's like the physicality of being a hitter. It's just one of the most impressive things ever. But a pitcher, like when you see like a Greg Maddux slicing and dicing, throwing darts up there, or even Bartolo, that's real artistry, craft of it.
Now-
but I get that.
now-
I mean, like kind of like Robert Gazelman, who was not too bad yesterday, man. I mean, we're talking about 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. See, the Mets, even when we've fallen down, we still had the pieces to pick it back up
Yeah,
with these young
for
guns.
sure.
I mean, as we want to look at the schedule for the upcoming week.
Yeah, go ahead. Give it.
All right, so as you know, we have the Miami Marlins, who it's going to be very, very difficult and tragic. And so Adam Conley is going to take the place of Jose Fernandez, who was supposed to go today. So we've got Bartolo Colon versus Adam Conley. Now, this game is so up in the air that I don't know what's going to happen. What's your gut instinct, Ace?
Man, I honestly think the Mets are going to win tonight. I feel it. I really do feel it in the air. I think the Mets are going to go 4-2. Exactly. I think the Mets are going to go 4-2. I really do feel it. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they went 5-1. That's how confident I am right now. You just got me like so pumped. I just don't get it. I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling it. I'm not worried. And let me just say,
That's a cool confidence you got right there. Like,
let me
you should
just
see
say-
this kid. He's just like, cool.
Yeah,
It's just James Dean up here like, nah.
Forget
nah.
it. Forget it. I think the Mets got this in the bag. But let me just say, I know we only have like a few minutes left in the show, and I don't remember if we talked about this, but this is actually big news that just popped into my head. Baseball's returning into the Olympics.
Oh, really?
It's coming back in 2020. They confirmed it. But I'm surprised. Stupid me. We only have like 1 minute and 40 seconds left, and I'm bringing this up, and I just remembered it. But it's big news. Baseball is going to be in Tokyo.
That's so cool, especially Tokyo. Like,
Yeah.
We'd always talk about how, like, over here in the United States, like, we love our baseball, but no, Tokyo is like
Loves
the
it
de
more.
facto
I mean, crazy.
capital of Japanese
Well, here's the
baseball
thing.
fandom.
Isn't it strange that the best players don't actually play in the MLB Olympics, at least on our side? Like, you never see any of the people in the majors play it, like Mike Trout or something. I guess because of contract
Well, no,
reasons.
because they don't want to get their players
during
hurt. It's
the season,
insurance.
that's why.
During the
It's during
season
the
also,
season.
but then when you
Yeah,
get like the World
that's it.
Baseball Classics, like it's always like the Dominican teams do fantastic, or like even Cuba.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting. I like that thought, but let's see if the Mets can go 4-2 the rest of the way. I think they will. I think 5-1 is
Yeah.
even reasonable because tomorrow you're throwing out Thor against Tom Kohler, and Tom Kohler's not been that.
Oh, dude,
good at
that
all.
guy? Yo, Mets always beat that guy 6-2.
Yep,
Oh
yep.
wait, there is 6 games. 6-0.
6-0?
Let's
6-0?
end it on a serious note. 6-0. 89 games that would be if they win 6.
And you know what they always said this whole entire year, even Gary, Keith, and Ron, that 89 games is what it will take to get to the wild card.
Let's just win 89. You feeling like 89?
I feel 89. 89. I'm feeling 89.
We're feeling 89 here at WCWP.org. Yo, we're feeling it. We're here at the studio at LIU Post, and guess what, man? I could open up that door and say 89, boys. I'm feeling 89. I'm just getting such great vibes and everything, and I know we only got 7 seconds left. So what I really want to say is that you guys better tune in next week, because it could be a really good week. It could be a historic collapse. It could be something.
Whatever it is, we're going to be emotional. We're going to be heated, and we're going to be bringing you baseball coverage live and up to date about what's going on down the league.
So all I'm saying is get hyped, and this is Ace at the Plate, baby, coming at you, young, informative, sexy, college sports, baby. Let's do it.
I think, therefore I am. I think? There's an easier way to prove you exist. Pick up your official senior ID card on Thursday, October 6th at 2 p.m. in the Plainview Old Bethpage Public Library. And it's free. For more info, call 516-938-0077 or visit poblib.org. The community calendar is a public service from your friends at 88.1 FM and WCWP.org.
Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
Yes, it's Enjoy Life, Mondays at 11, with me, your joyologist, Naomi Joy. Here our guests reveal how they are bringing new pleasures, passions, and fun into their later years. You can, too. Enjoy Life, Mondays at 11.
Only on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. This is WCWP Sports Talk, Brookville, New York. This is WCWP.